So if you have not seen my video on Uncharted Drake's Fortune, I recommend clicking that annotation and watching that first. Otherwise, just keep watching this as I'll be talking about its sequel, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Once again, this is the PS4 version from the Nathan Drake collection, so the first thing I should mention is the upgraded visuals. And they're great. I don't know what else to say about them. Stunning, maybe? Sometimes I would just stop and look around at the environment. The environments are really, really fantastic. I don't know if they're necessarily a ton better than in Drake's Fortune, but I'd say they're a bit more varied. Instead of pretty much only jungles and ruins, we get mountains, snow, a train, sewers, a city, and of course, more ruins. Another reason the environments are arguably more interesting is their themes, but before I elaborate, let's get into the story. As a whole, it's not too much different than the last installment, if I'm being honest. We've got Nathan Drake, the hero man, off to find the mystical city of Shambhala, much like he was looking for the golden city of El Dorado last time. Again, we've got his friend Sully along for help, although not as much, and the return of Elena. There's also Nathan's sketchy friends Harry and Chloe and the new villain Lazarevich, an evil warlord and overall edge master. The new characters make the story a bit more complex and interesting than the first game, with more interactions and conflicted motives. Some of the best parts of the game are just watching the dialogue unfold between characters. Even though Lazarevich was a fairly stereotypical villain, he felt more fleshed out than whatever villain was in Drake's Fortune. Overall, it feels a little more unique, exploring Buddhist and Mongolian lore, something you rarely ever see done. And going back to earlier, it makes the environment seem a lot more fascinating to look at and interact with. While the game is still pretty predictable in its story, as an action game I don't think it hurts the game overall that much, especially considering the gameplay. For the most part, the gameplay in Among Thieves remains the same from Drake's Fortune. We've got the jumpy sections and the shooty sections. Platforming remains just as heavy here, but I don't think there was a lot of massive improvements. Some places maybe use more exciting, but mechanically platforming is stayed pretty much the same. That means there are still places where Drake was a bit glitchy or hard to move from place to place, occasionally being a little bit annoying. Shooting, on the other hand, seems like it's pretty much been perfected. Everything is very straightforward and simply done. It also gives you a decent variety a lot of the time in choosing what weapon you want to use. The enemies also seem, while not terribly different, to have a little more variation, adding in more armored soldiers and soldiers with more powerful weapons like miniguns. You're still playing a cover shooter, but it's just so tight and perfect in every single way. If you die when shooting, it's your fault. However, the game also tries to emphasize the melee part of combat, this time to mixed results. You're introduced to melee and close range combat even before shooting during the beginning of the game. The main problem is that while the game tries to make the melee system more complex, it also heavily slows it down. If you're in the heat of battle and quickly try to take someone out, you'll be put into a clunky system of punching and countering, and it's hard to even tell which is the correct response. While it is still perhaps a more complex and interesting combat system than in Drake's Fortune, it's not much more fun. Thankfully, you rarely ever have to actually use it in the game. However, what you are required to do is some close-range combat in the realm of stealth. Although it's just maybe one or two parts of the game, sometimes it becomes maddening considering the positions of the guards you need to take out and the fact that your takedown seems to alternate between a fast and slow animation. Again, these portions are certainly smaller pieces of the game, but they are still necessary to play through. So what element does make this game so fantastic and even better than the last? Basically, it boils down to what I said in my previous review. It's like you're playing a blockbuster. Everything is so over the top, even more than in Drake's Fortune, getting bigger, better, and grander. Whether you're running across a train, hopping from car to car, blowing up a helicopter with a tank, or mowing down soldiers with a minigun, oh my god, the game is tons and tons of fun to watch. And few games can present such an over-the-top action premise and be able to follow it up with adequate mechanical gameplay. Just as a random side note, there's a point where the game utilizes flashbacks for storytelling and it just kind of ends up feeling unnecessary. You even need to replay a very small portion of the game, and I was a bit confused why I needed to play the same thing twice. Kind of get why they did it, but I don't know. It probably could have been done less repetitively. Again, just a very small gripe. I find it interesting that I'm almost in the minority with my opinion about Uncharted 2. Like most others, I agree that the game is brimming with fun and action. If that's all you want to take away from this review, great. but it definitely still has some issues with close range combat and platforming that I can't completely look over. I think maybe it's even possible to play through the game looking over these flaws. Honestly, I'm a little conflicted about my rating, so I'm gonna have to bend my usual 0.5 scale into a 0.25 scale. That's why I'm giving Uncharted 2 Among Thieves a 9.25 out of 10 and a request to please buy the game if you have a PS3 or to buy the Nathan Drake collection, even if the third game turns out for some reason to be garbage. Please buy it! Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, press the like button. If you did not like it, I have to tell you to press the dislike button, even if I don't like it. But if it's one of your favorite videos, if you like this stuff, subscribe, comment, give me feedback. What do you like, what didn't you like? Tell me. This is my first review in a while. Hopefully it won't be too long before I do Uncharted 3. That probably will be my next video unless I decide to do a demo or something. But yeah, hopefully I can make some more videos faster. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.